Yeah, hi everyone. Good evening. Welcome for the another session of Know the Strategy. And today we have Ms. Sonam Srivastava from Right Research, and she's going to talk about her strategy and also some insight about that she wanted to share about the statistical arbitrage strategy and the potential risk and rewards. So today, I just want to give a little background for Right Research. Like Right Research is a SEBI registered quantitative investment advisor in the Indian market, and they focus on quantitative and statistical techniques with an edge of the use of artificial intelligence for trading. So yes, Sonam. So you can proceed with further on the session.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, thank you, Dinesh, for the introduction, and welcome everyone to the presentation. I'm so glad that everybody was able to join us today. Uh, so in this session, what I want to cover is a little bit of background about right research and a little bit of background about what our philosophy is, and also then I want to explain the strategy of statistical arbitrage that we have put in on Tradetron. Uh, Is it fine if I speak in English right now or
Yeah, absolutely okay.
all right, yeah. So I'll just get started on the presentation. I'll share my screen. Right. Yeah. The what is the basis of this strategy is that using positional long and short positions, we want to deliver consistent returns in an uncorrelated fashion with the index. So whereas like a lot of people have long only strategies that are highly correlated to the index, right? Um, in many times, people are looking at strategies that are uncorrelated to the index that can give them consistent capital appreciation and help them when the markets go down as well. So this is what our long short strategy is about. I'll start off by giving a little bit of a background about Right Research. Dinesh already talked to you about it. So we are a SEBI registered investment advisor. We are based out in Mumbai. We have been, so I started running this as a proprietorship around 1.5 year ago, and now we are set up as a company, and we have been doing this for 1.5 years. We have been we create factor-based equity portfolios. So our core business is long only portfolios based on equity factors, and now we have been doing long short strategies for close to 6 months now. We focus a lot on research in artificial intelligence in finance, uh, using which we publish a lot of papers and we go and speak at various conferences on this. We are incubated at BSC Institute Limited, uh, in using their technology startup incubator foundation called BRTSIF. Our philosophy is that we are data driven, and we are technology driven. We want to focus not only on the traditional factors in the market but also on the alternative investment side, which is where this strategy comes in. And we also want to really focus on the execution part of things. We want optimal execution for our clients, and we want to build a relationship based on trust and integrity with our clients. So this is about the people in my team and the processes that we follow. I am the founder and I serve as the portfolio manager of the strategy that we run. I have 10 plus years of experience in the field. I have studied at IIT Kanpur and WorldCon University, and I've worked at various teams in quantitative investing in HSBC, Edelweiss, and QPlum. I have Ashish Singh, who looks at the technology part of Right Research. He focuses on the web development and various technological work in the firm. And we have Dr. Michael Alonso, who is a New York-based researcher who helped us with the AI ML part of things. Our philosophy is that we look at multiple factors in the market. Like we focus a lot on multi-factor research. So we know that like sometimes, you know, momentum does better than anything. But we also know that there's certain times when momentum doesn't do well, and maybe a value strategy or you know a quality strategy would do much better. So our focus is on understanding a lot of these traditional multiple factors. We validate any idea that we have using data science and you know statistical research. We backtest any strategy for 20 years, and our focus is on optimal execution as well, because we all know if the execution is not good, then the client will not have a good experience. And we are always constantly improving, which is our motive. We want to constantly improve and do good for our clients. So as I said, we have a couple of products. The first one is the multi-factor tactical, which is a long only portfolio, which we put on some other platforms apart from Tradetron. There again, our motive is considering outperformance in all market conditions. We use tactical allocation to various factors and ETFs there, and the targeted returns are 20% with a 15% risk and 18% drawdown. And this we have been running since July of 2019. What we're going to talk about today is the statistical arbitrage strategy, which is a long short market neutral strategy. We use single stock futures to create our strategy, and the motive is to deliver consistent returns, but at a much lower risk and drawdown, and in a very uncorrelated fashion to the market. How the philosophy is that we will be market neutral, and we use our proprietary models using a lot of equity factors and technical and alternative factors to come up with our allocations. The targeted returns are 24% unlevered. If you don't take any leverage, you'll get a 24% return, and unlevered, your drawdown would be 4% and your risk would be 5%. So we have been running this, a version of this on Tradetron since June 2020. So what is statistical arbitrage? So our statistical arbitrage portfolio, like I said, wants to deliver consistent return with low correlations. It is a market neutral strategy comprising single stock futures on NSE. And how do we construct it? We look at various statistical correlation between statistical relationship between these various stock futures and the various factors related to them. So the type of factors that we look at are smart beta. Smart beta is something called is what you call momentum is a smart beta portfolio, or value is a smart beta portfolio, or maybe quality is a smart beta portfolio strategy. So we look at smart beta strategy factors, we look at technical factors, we look at fundamental. If we can get any sentiment data, then we look at that. We also use a lot of options data, options, OI, etc. data into, and if we get any insider trading or any such news-based factors, we try to leverage that to build our portfolios. So how it works is we consume this data and we find statistical relationship between them. Our right research uses a lot of artificial intelligence in our portfolio construction, but you don't always have to use that in statistical arbitrage. But we choose to use artificial intelligence in what we do. And another very important factor in such strategies is that you have to manage your risk. So you have to like this is market neutral, this is delta neutral. You have to also be beta neutral to any factor. So I mean, you don't have any exposure to the market, or maybe a specific factor which might have a which might have a very volatile run. So that's why we try to be as much as we try to have as low of a risk exposure as we can. And using this process, we come up with our optimal portfolio. So statistical arbitrage as a strategy, if you leave aside what Right Research is doing, is a very heavily quantitative and computational approach to securities trading. So it involves like a lot of statistical mining and statistical methods to come up with your trading decisions. I'm sure a lot of us know about pairs trading, which is you find two stocks or more than two stocks which always have a very correlated path, or the ratio of which has a very constant value, and you try to arbitrage that relationship, right? So when the spread goes much wider than the historical pattern, you go long short and you try to benefit from the spread. So statistical arbitrage, like we do it, is a little bit of evolved version of pair trading. So we don't just look at two stocks, we look at various factors and we look at a portfolio of stocks. So a simple example would be, um, suppose I'm doing a statistical arbitrage based on mean reversion, right? So I will rank my stocks on whatever score of mean reversion that I have. Whichever stock have a high score, we will go long. Whichever stocks have a low score, we'll go short, and that is our strategy. So this strategy comprises of two main phases. The first one is that we want to score our stocks based on a particular factor. So like I said, we were talking about momentum or mean reversion. How that would happen is, you have your universe of say 150 stocks. You create a metric for momentum. So let's say my metric for momentum uh, is past 12 months trend, right? So you create that score for each of your stocks, and whichever, and you can go long, the top 10%, you can go short the top 10%, and you can vary the strategy based on your own logic, um, and that's how you create your portfolio. The second very very important part is the risk reduction. Like I said, we always want to control the risk, right? Because you're taking derivative positions, you are long short of derivatives, you can go up to 3-4x in leverage, right? So reducing the risk is very very important. So how we do it is, we have our position sizing module in such a way that we are always uh, neutral to any factor. So I mean, our positions are matched by sector and industry to eliminate all beta and other risk factor exposure. And that is how we construct our low risk portfolio. And what do we gain when we keep the risk low in this fashion is that our portfolios are not impacted by any crazy turns that happen in the market, or any crazy turns that happen in any particular factor, right? And which is why our drawdowns and our risk numbers, they sort of remain very very low. And so that is a very very nutshell of a statistical arbitrage strategy. It is a evolved version of pair trading. Like I said, in pair trading you have a few stocks, but here we are looking at a huge portfolio of stocks, and the statistical relationship is coming from various factors. I talked about mean reversion, which is a very very important factor. I talked about momentum, but there are so many factors that you can be looking at. Um, yeah. So now let's look at what are the factors that can be looked at. Um, so you can choose to work with maybe like a couple of factors. Maybe if you only created a mean reversion strategy, it would do quite well. I mean, it would not be a bad idea to only work with mean reversion or only work with short-term momentum. But we look at multiple factors because there are multiple advantages of using multiple factors. We believe that if we include multiple factors, we will be able to create a more efficient portfolio, which will have a much better risk return trade-off than any traditional model. When we use multiple factors, we are able to capture the fundamental anomalies in the market. So like like your value anomaly or your quality anomaly, we are able to capture that. We are able to capture behavioral anomalies, like your mean reversion and your momentum are behavioral anomalies that are captured when we look at multiple factors. And we believe that these factors are the key performance drivers of the market, and which is why we look at multiple factors. When we are doing this, we sort of become top down, so we don't have to go and study every single stock, but we can look at a set of, like, let's say 20 factors and work with them. And as I said, When we use these multiple factors, we have enhanced returns and we have lower risk and drawdowns. So if you look at the chart that I've shown here, you see that um, uh, there are some 12, 15 strategies over here, and each of them behave in a very, very uncorrelated fashion, right? So if each of them are so uncorrelated, a combination of them, you can create a very optimal combination of them, which can be very, very low risk because of the diversification benefit that each of these uncorrelated strategies bring into your portfolio. The second very, very important thing that we focus on in Right Research, in our statistical arbitrage strategy is that, you know, when you're doing a long short and you're looking at very short term, right? You're not looking at holding a future for, you know, a quarter, or you're not looking to hold a future for a month. We are looking at holding a future for, you know, less than a week, typically a week or less than a week. So we know that if you're doing that and you're being market neutral, each of the factors that you're looking at are a very, very weak indicator of the market, right? So, so if you look at each of these factors, they will all give you a very low return. So they are able to explain, like, each one of the factor is able to explain some part of the market, but it is not able to explain all of the market. But what we think is that if we can combine these multiple weak indicators, we can create a much, much stronger indicator. And that is the whole, you know, philosophy of what we are doing in this particular strategy. Uh, so over here in this chart, you can see that I've collected a bunch of weak indicators, not weak indicators, but so something like efficiency, growth, value, which do not work well in a long short fashion, right? So they might work in a long fashion, but in the long short fashion, they don't work that well. But if we combine them using, you know, uh, ML or AI based technique, we can see that the performance comes up by quite a lot. And we will talk a little bit about how we combine these weak indicators to come up with a much, much stronger portfolio. So this is so the stuff that I'm talking about, the combining of weak indicators to come up with a strong indicator, is not something that is very, you know, new. There's a lot of research that has gone about this, that you can combine weak indicators to come up with a much stronger indicator. A lot of machine learning research goes into this, and obviously the multiple factor part of it, you know, combining multiple factors which have a very, very diversified profile, adds a lot of value when you talk about combining weak indicators. So this is something that is well researched and well documented in research. Um, so when I said that we combine these multiple indicators, how do we do it? We use machine learning to do this, right? So the idea is that, like, if you are, you know, if you ever know of any data science flow, how that happens is that um, you are trying to what you're trying to model is the performance in the next period, right? Performance in whatever way you define it, right? And you're using a bunch of factors related to these stocks to come up with, to, you know, predict the performance in the next period. So that is how the flow of any data science flow happens. Any process where you are trying to uh, define a certain thing, like we are trying to define the next period return, we're trying to predict the next period return. In any process, you try to decide what are all the factors that will affect this process, right? So so in our case, we collect these fundamental, technical, and alternative factors to, you know, describe how the, you know, how the performance of the stock will happen. And we use very, very strong machine learning to do this, strong machine learning and statistical techniques. So how does this core engine of our portfolio work is that, first thing is that we research each of these factors, right? So looking at any numbers standalone might not do well for you, but you can go deep into it. You can look at normalization techniques. You can look at, removing outliers. You can look at various data processing technique to create value out of any indicator. So that is the first step that we follow. So we use statistics and various data science methods to do this, and then we try to use on a bunch of models. So it could be ensemble models like boosting bagging techniques to describe your next peer returns. We also look at neural networks. We have done a lot of research on neural networks for not just predicting the next period return, but also um, but also uh, trying to reduce the turnover, because that is very very critical for any retail investor, um, more than anything, because you can't trade too much because you're paying a very high transaction cost. And for any, if you trade too much, then your returns after cost will come down by quite a lot, right? If you had too much turnover. So we use machine learning techniques to not only give you a good prediction of returns, but also reduce the turnover that you are taking. Also, a lot of research goes into the robustness of these models, right? So when I say that I'm using machine learning model, and I don't think that you would get a very clear picture of it, right? I don't think you, it sort of sounds like there's a black box that is doing something, and what is the, how can I trust it, right? If I see a drawdown, then I would be like, oh, has everything gone wrong? What's happening? You won't be able to understand that, right? But so a lot of research that we do goes into the understanding the robustness of the process. So we want any accuracy metric, any our profitability, our hit rate to be consistent across time. And what are the most important factors that the model is using? We want a consistency across that. We want to understand that if the momentum stocks are doing well, if our strategy is doing well right now, then is it because of momentum, or is it because of mean reversion? So we do a lot of robustness testing, so that this component where we are using a strong machine learning model doesn't stay like a black box to us, but we are able to evaluate the effectiveness and the robustness of these models. So that is the one part. And secondly, like I said, we are using futures and options. So there's a lot of risk. We are taking leverage positions. Any unlevered drawdown goes up to 3x drawdown in a levered position. So risk management is very very important for us. What are the types of risks that we face, and how do we tackle each of them? So the first risk that we sort of face is the model risk, right? So everybody, if you work on these models consistently, you see that many a times what you see in the backtesting, if you do it in the best possible fashion, you see a slightly lower performance in the live setup. Uh, so we try to avoid excessive optimization or excessive data mining. You can build very very strong models that can just learn the past, but if something new happens, then they will not have a clue, right, what to do. So we try to avoid that part. We try to avoid excessive overfitting in data mining, so that our model is robust to any new situation that it sees. There is another risk which is called transient risk. So which is like, a lot of people see in live trading that, okay, there's a signal that does well, this strategy that does well, but it will go away in 6 months, right? We all have heard about that many times. So we are very very aware of that, and because we use multiple factors and we are constantly improving, right? So we have 20 strategies now, but we keep on doing continual research to add factors to our engine. And if some one thing stops working in the market, we are looking at 20 different things apart from that. So we take care of the transient risk. There is obviously the leverage risk that I talked about, which is you are taking 4x leverage. So even if you have a 5% risk, it becomes 15%. Even if you have 5% drawdown, it becomes 15% in the leverage fashion. So that's why our what we try to do is we try to keep your exposure as close to zero as we can. We try to not have exposure to a single industry, a single sector by a lot, so that you know, if something very sudden happens in a particular industry or sector, you your portfolio faces a lot of risk. The fourth risk that we see is that what is the scalability of this? So scalability. So the purpose that we are talking about, which is TradeTron. So there we have a 10 stock portfolio or 8 to 10 stock portfolio, where every portfolio has a position in one stock. I mean, one lot of each stock. So there is, I mean, it is hardly anything compared to the liquidity that these stocks have. So we don't see any very risk related to scale. And if we talk about in the larger sense, this particular strategy, like I said, is able to accommodate like hundreds of stocks. So there's no risk of scale in the strategy. As for the regime risk, we think, I mean, we know, we are very aware of the fact that market change regimes, right? There are certain times when, all the trending strategies, they do really, really well, but there are certain times when these strategies crash like anything. So we are very, very aware of the regime risk, and we adapt the factors that we're looking at, the predictions that we're doing, the model that we have based on the regimes. So this is our risk management framework and how we tackle that. So now we'll come to the core strategy. I'll talk about the performance and some very, very key parameters that are being used. I think I gave away some theoretical understanding about it in the previous session, in the previous slides. Now, so talking about the strategy overview, um, it is a quantitative market rule strategy. It has 20 factors, which are all, technical, alternative, fundamental, smart beta, etc., which we are combining using machine learning techniques. So if you look at this picture, you see that, okay, the factors could be anything, but the core of any portfolio construction process, even if it comes from, a traditional manager, even if it comes from, a machine learning driven, a very sophisticated manager, but the core of the engine always remains the same. Everybody is trying to do a return prediction, everybody is trying to do a risk modeling, and everybody is trying to do a cost modeling. So these three things are the key areas that we focus on. And so we use machine learning in our return prediction model. We'll use a little bit of machine learning in the risk modeling and the cost prediction model, but that is something that is still evolving for Right Research. Um, yeah, so that's what we do. We combine these multiple factors. We have this engine that does your risk return modeling and cost modeling, and we finally come up with your long and short positions. So our long and short positions are, not a co-integrated pair in any sense, right? So we are not saying that, HDFC and HDFC Bank are very correlated. So go long HDFC and go short HDFC Bank when the spread is wide. We are not doing that. What we are saying is that based on the modeling that we have done, based on various statistical methods, we have a very, very high conviction long uh, signal on these four stocks, and we have very, very high conviction short signal on these four stocks. So that is how we create our strategy. Obviously, we work on all FNO stocks. So it's not like I have selected these 10 stocks and I'm working on that. We have this universe of 150 stocks that we work on, and we create our signals on, all the 150 stocks. But when we put it on TradeTron for our retail clients, right? Our retail clients, we don't want them. I mean, we don't. We know that our clients won't be very comfortable with a 100 stock portfolio, because the value would be like 50 lakh. You need 50 lakh in margin money to trade that portfolio. So to keep that margin requirement low, to keep the investment requirement low, we have created a portfolio which has typically 4 to 5 longs and 4 to 5 shorts. And these are very high conviction longs and shorts based on our statistical research and machine learning research. Based on our backtesting, we see expected 25% unlevered return using this strategy. We see a 4% unlevered drawdown in this strategy, and the expected Sharpe ratio is around 3.5. Uh, we have been running this strategy on for 6 months on Tradetron. I started running this initially on Tradetron to do paper trading, and now we have a few customers who are running this. What are the key parameters of this strategy is that like I said, we have 4 longs and 4 shorts, which comes up to a 18 lakh value. We sort of hold any stock for a 1 week holding period. We might square it off if a stop loss is hit or anything like that within the week also. But a typical holding period is 1 week. We try to keep our exposure in control for, per sector, per industry, and per stock. We have a high churn rate. So we have around 2000% expected annual rate churn, which has to happen because our signals are short term. We are showing all the unlevered returns here, but you can lever it as per your benefit and as much as your broker allows you. We work with, the standard exchange leverage, uh, which is around 3.5x. Um, how do we structure it? We on Tradetron, we are putting it with a minimum investment of 20 lakh, and you integrate with your broker on Tradetron, and you allow the automated engine to trade on your behalf. The fee that we charge is right now 0% in terms of fixed fee, and we charge a 10% performance fee over a hurdle rate. I mean, the hurdle rate is zero, I think, for on Tradetron. So we charge a 10% profit share, and we charge a 0% fixed fee. The turnover is 2000% annual, but it is 40 to 50% weekly. And the correlation that we are targeting is very, very low, right? So, I mean, the correlation is around 0% to the market. The hit rate that we are targeting is, so I mean, so we have we have like various stocks coming in and going out of this portfolio, and the hit rate that we see is 60%, right? So not all our positions are making money. So we are not claiming that we had these 20 positions over the last month, and every position should make money. So 60% of the positions would make money, and that is the hit ratio, and that is what we sort of claim to have. Right. So that is what we saw on the key parameters. Now for the backtested performance and the live performance. The backtested performance, so this is all unlevered again. Um, it shows a 30% return, a 6% volatility, and a much lower drawdown of 4%. What we in the live setup, we have seen 25% return in the 6 months, a 4.6% volatility, and a 4% drawdown, which is going on right now. Uh, so this is all unlevered. So in the levered sense, it becomes around 15% drawdown and 15 to 18% risk. These are our monthly performances based on back tested results, as well as some part of it is live. So we see that this is a very consistently performing strategy based on the backtesting that we have done. And why should anyone invest in this strategy? Why should anybody trust Right Research in what they are doing? Is that first of all, the philosophy that we are going for is that we want to deliver consistent performance across time, across market scenarios, and we want to keep the risk low. And we use a lot of systematic models. We do a lot of statistical research across various, you know, across various factors, like I said, across various horizons, across any factor that we see, we try to see the effectiveness of it in the market. Uh, Both of our strategies, long only and long short, are based on multiple factor research. We use market microstructure modeling, we use market regime modeling, we use artificial intelligence in creating these portfolios wherever we can use it the best. We use, as for the risk, we try to keep our volatility low and our correlation with the market also very, very low, because we know we are not, a passive fund. We have to find, we are an alternative to a passive fund. So we provide low correlation to the market, and we try to focus on low volatility and low drawdowns. We want to be market agnostic, and we want to give you a consistent return irrespective of the market. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to be explainable. Uh, we focus on academic research, and we don't want any black box component, even though we use a lot of machine learning, but we want to give a very clear and transparent picture of what we are doing. We want people to understand what we are doing. We want to understand what our model is saying. So that is a very, very core part of what we do. Uh, we are running it in a very flexible fashion. So right now, we created this strategy with a large portfolio size in our mind, but right now we are running it for a 20 lakh size portfolio, and we are very flexible on changing the horizon. If somebody doesn't want to trade in 150 stock, they only want to trade in 30 liquid stocks or etc. So it's very flexible. It is very transparent, as in uh, we disclose everything that we are doing. It is very diversified, as in like I said, we are looking at multiple factors. We are looking at hundreds of stocks, right? And we're using that to create our portfolio. So we are very well diversified, and we are obviously low cost. Something that we talk about, we charge no performance fee, we charge no subscription fee, and we have a small profit sharing percentage for the strategy. So that's pretty much it about my presentation. I would love for anybody interested to reach out to me on my email or my phone number, which is given out here. You can also follow me on any social media handles that you want, me and Right Research. And please, I think we can go over the questions that people have.
Yeah, sure. Just before that, Sonam, if you can just go to TradeTron and show participants that how they can find your strategy on TradeTron,
Right.
and they can subscribe, how they can find it basically, and they can subscribe
Right.
to that.
So on TradeTron, see, this is our strategy right now. This is the strategy that I was talking about on TradeTron. You can see it has a good performance. Historically, we are going through a drawdown, like I said, but we are hoping that we will recover from it soon.
And I think there is one more for options as well, right?
Yeah, we have an option strategy. I am sort of, it sort of went through a little bit of an extreme drawdown. So I am not, I mean, if we are running it, but I am not adding a lot of subscribers to it right now,
Okay.
because I mean, so the idea is that let us recover from the drawdown, and then we will, hopefully add more and more subscribers.
Okay. All right. Great. So yeah. So if anyone have any questions, please you can ask. I think there are already a few questions on chat, so you can read it on chat, and we can answer the questions. Answer them.
Okay. Yeah. So somebody asked me about the options portfolio. Why is there a 40% drawdown in the options portfolio? See, the idea is that see, when you see, we are so how the option strategy is constructed is that in futures you have 4 longs and 4 shorts. So in the option strategy, what we do is we take 4 calls and 4 puts instead of 4 calls, 4 longs and 4 shorts, right? So how so the return remains the same, but the margin requirement comes down very, very low, right? So the margin requirement in the future strategy is 20 lakh, whereas in the option strategy is 2.5 lakh, but the performance is very same, right? So the return is same. So if you look at the option strategy here, you see, I mean, we've been running it for 3 months, and for a few months we saw uh, like 30%, 50% returns, and now we have seen a drawdown, right? Why this has happened is because the exposure remains the same, right? The exposure is again the same as the future strategy, but the margin requirement is low, so that's why these numbers look very extreme. But if you look at the actual exposure number, right? So the numbers, so if you look at the actual exposure, the number would look very similar to this. Obviously, why would I put such a strategy that has shown like a 40% drawdown is because in the back test it did show a very good it did show a very good performance, and it did show good performance for the past 3 months, and we are facing a drawdown right now. We had some extreme market scenarios, and uh, we are learning. We have now added, like, we didn't have any stop loss or stop profit before this. So we have added stop losses and stop profit now. I think if we had stop loss in a couple of days when the strategy faced these drawdowns, we wouldn't have faced such issues. But we are learning, and I don't want to give out any product that will give anybody a very bad experience. So we are running it, but we are learning, and once we are very confident about it, we will encourage our subscribers to go on with that. The statistical arbitrage, obviously, here the drawdown is, again, there is a drawdown, but it doesn't look that extreme, right? It looks like a 12% drawdown because we have shown that the exposure required is 20 lakhs, so that is how it is happening. And obviously these are high risk strategies, so um, we expect that people who are participating in these strategies, they have a little bit of knowledge of the leverage that they are taking, the exposure that they are taking. Somebody has asked, do you use reinforcement learning? I mean, see, we do a lot of research on reinforcement learning. I can show you. I mean, we have published some research on reinforcement learning very recently that I can share with you. But we are not doing reinforcement learning in this particular portfolio that we offer because I mean, we might do that. We see a lot of benefit in using reinforcement learning, but we are not doing that right now because we are not that confident on it. We are working on it, and if we see a lot of benefits in doing that, then we might add that to portfolio. What is the risk reward followed in each trade? Uh, so that is something that we have to look at. Like I said, we have a 60% hit ratio. So I'm not saying that you might see that there's a particular trade that looks bad, but 60% of the trade should look good. And that is the whole idea when you're working with a portfolio, right? And a long-term portfolio is that if 60% of the portfolio does well, then your overall return will look very good, Has hindsight bias been treated in practice since only 8 stocks are provided? Uh, yeah, I mean, see, we try to not have any hindsight or look ahead bias. We have very good quality data that we work with. So there is no look ahead or hindsight bias. We test out this strategy for 20 years, like we said. And I mean, we have the FNO universe since then. So whatever came in and went out from the universe, we work on that. And you see, the why we are offering this with 8 stocks is because we want to keep the margin requirement low, right? If we included 20 stocks, then you would require like a 50 lakh margin. So why we're keeping this to 8 stocks is because we want to keep the margin requirement low. Minimum capital should be 10 lakh. That will be very difficult because in that case, we will only have like 4 stocks, which will become very risky. That's why we don't use that. Somebody said that the Sharpe ratio is 3.5. Can you share Kalmar ratio? So I think Kalmar ratio is return by drawdown. So a return by drawdown ratio comes out the uh, around 4 based on the backtested performance that we have. Return showed in TradePron is leverage. Obviously, return showed in TradePron is leverage um, because whenever you buy a future, you do take leverage, right? There is no until unless you keep certain cash in your account, there is no way to not take that leverage. So obviously, the return showed in TradePron are leveraged. Uh, I've shared my contact information at the end of the slide. It is sonam at rightresearch.in. Please do email me for any queries. Is there any intraday strategy? So I mean, I didn't go deep into it, but when you work on a statistical arbitrage, which is sort of a mid-frequency strategy, right? There is a lot of benefit of doing intraday trading into it. But obviously, when we do, even if we take intraday signals, so right now the idea is that we trade at the end of the day, right? Because we're working with a week of data. We're not working with data within the day. But what we want to do in the future is that we want to incorporate some intraday signals into this strategy so that we can switch positions within the day, and that adds a lot of value if we go more into the mid frequency way, and that is something that we're really looking to do in the future, but we don't have the infrastructure and the bandwidth to do that right now, but we're really looking to do that in the future. Somebody said that how effective is sentiment analysis predicting. uh, I think sentiment analysis is very good based on some research that you found on Bloomberg and all that, and obviously sentiment is something that comes, like there are various market participants, there are a lot of these influencers on Twitter and all who have a very good understanding of the market, and sometimes when if you can analyze the reason for their sentiment and make that up into a number based on which you can trade, it can be a very powerful tool. How do you manage the cost of a large portfolio? Yeah, so the idea is that we don't try to trade too much. We said, like I said, uh, we try to trade with a weekly frequency. How do we take a new regime changes which is different from which the current bots are trained on? Yeah, so see, our definition of regime is that it is a 0-1 signals. It is a low risk regime, it's a high risk regime, right? And we work with that. It is sort of based on the drawdown levels in the market. It is based on the trend in the market. Is based on the risk in the volatility in the market. And if a new situation comes, um, our algorithms will sort of understand what the type of market is, and if we see that there is no understanding of the market, then we won't trade, right? Um, is this intraday or positional? It is positional. Like I said, we are doing it for a 1 week holding period. I'm sure we can. I'm sure TradePron will share the recording and the notes of the webinar with you. Somebody has asked that.
Yes, it will be uploaded on YouTube channel. So yeah.
What is the best broker to take this strategy? Because some are having high slippages. So I think we have subscribers who have used Zerodha, who used Alice Blue, Fires, 5paisa, and all. I think people are having a decent experience on each of them, Composite Edge, etc. Is an approach to pit RL agents against each other to such market low cost and strategy instead of putting a manual from strategies. Well, obviously that is a very interesting idea, and see all these models. I mean, I've done a lot of research on RL, but all these models have this component where the person who is bringing risk into the model, if they don't understand the risk, if they don't understand what is causing why the decision making is happening, if they're not confident about the model, then the model won't suffer so much, but the person who is bringing risk will face the consequences. So as and when the understanding of RL becomes much more robust as and when the confidence in what the RL agent is doing becomes much more robust. I'll definitely start using it because I like the concept really, really well. Is it possible to use future-based option to reduce margin plus profit is less? I think that's an interesting idea, and I will explore doing that. I mean, when I started the option-based strategy, the performance and experience with it was really, really good for a few months, and then we faced a drawdown, and when it gave a bad result. But I'm hoping that things become stable over there as well, and our users have a good experience. Uh, so, working with options, we have to, sort of understand a little bit more about it. Someone has not used a Tradeon earlier. Any suggestion on how automate the execution of the strategies? So on Tradeon, the execution is totally automated. Um, so anytime that when our algo fires an order, it gets traded directly into the client's account. So it is very, very automated. And if there is an issue that the client is facing, right? Suppose something didn't get traded, suppose something wrong has happened, then I get to see it on TradeCon that this something has happened in the client's account, and I can inform them or take an action to fix that. Any option buying strategy that you're planning? We have an option buying strategy, like I said, but we had a drawdown, so we are just watching it, and I am very hopeful that it will do well. But let us recover from the drawdown before I start telling people in with a high conviction that you should trade that. What about slippages? See, we haven't see our strategy is supposed to be traded only at the end of the day. So we typically trade at the end of the day. Sometimes during the day we have tried doing that, but now we are doing only at the end of the day. And so so there is no huge slippages that we have seen, right? So suppose the theoretical strategy on TradeTron shows a particular price. What happens in the client account is not too different, and we are not very focused on the slippage price. Our holding period is a week, so slippages don't play that important a role in what we are doing. Are you guys hiring? I mean, obviously, I would love to hire, talented people, and as much talent we have, will add, we'll be able to add as much value. But as in when we have more resources to hire, I will definitely post more about it. Now, if regime identity is possible, then don't you think the strategy should be avoided short by not trading? Uh, I mean, see, certain shorts do work for us on certain days, so I won't say that we shouldn't be going short. If there is a universe of 150 stocks, uh, there are there are days when everything is negative, and there are days when 30 are negative and rest of them are positive. So obviously there is a meaningful value added by shorts. Our regime identification is not 100% accurate. Right? Our regime identification is very strong, but it is not 100% accurate. And what we have seen through our backtesting is that having a strong regime prediction model adds a lot of value, maybe more than, I mean, it adds much more value than not having a regime identification model. That is something that we have seen. Isn't the main problem with option that more liquidity, I mean, options become in the money, the liquidity? Yeah, so that is a problem. We try to roll over to the at the money option if we see that the current option starts becoming illiquid. So that has not been a problem. There is a little bit of problem around the expiry week where we try to roll over the positions before the expiry because there's a lot of theta decay in the last week, and next month's options are not that illiquid. So in that case, we sort of recommend our clients to not trade that particular option if it is very liquid, but also not have the current month option because there will be a lot of theta decay over there. We can wait till the VIX comes down 14 points and then we'll yeah. Definitely. Isn't a good idea to replace futures with covered calls and debit spreads to reduce drawdown and overall of this? Yeah, that is an idea that we have that I've heard a lot, and That's something that I'm exploring, and I'll look at putting it out as and when I can. When we say regime modeling, what lead time are we looking at for the prediction? So we don't look at very short-term regimes. So we sort of expect a regime to go anywhere from a few weeks to more than 6 months. Um, so because suppose you have a regime that is going up and down every day, then your trading would keep on turning on itself every other day. You don't want to do that. So that's why when I say regime modeling, we are looking at various, what can be the worst situation in the portfolio. Worst situation that we have seen, on the overall exposure level is, like I said, around 5-6% drawdown, which unfortunately happened for us in December. But yeah, hopefully we'll recover. We're working very, very hard to do that. How do you differentiate between trading and ranging market? Trending and ranging markets. Um, See, what we try to do is that we create a regime shift model, right? And we see what is the market return when the model said it's a trending market, when the model said it's a ranging market. And we try to, the idea of a regime shift model is that we want to widen the spread between what the model said is trending and when the model said it is not trending, right? So that is the overall basic concept. And then we also want to, like somebody asked, that the regime shouldn't be like changing every day because there's no meaning in that. We want that period to be high more than a few weeks, maybe more than a few months, if that is how the market is. So that is how we approach regime modeling. So I think we have covered most of the questions. I thank everybody for listening to my presentation, and I love for you guys to explore our strategy on TradeTron. Please reach out to me for any questions you might have, any new strategy for the future. Somebody is asking me any new strategies for the future, and yeah, definitely I'm looking at a lot of new strategies that we will bring on TradeTron in the future, and hopefully we'll have a good experience and
Yeah.
with our clients. So that's pretty much it from my side. I'd like to
Yeah.
thank
Thanks.
everybody for being here.
Great. Great. Thanks. It was a really wonderful session, Sonam. Thank you so much for sharing the details. And yeah, I will be uploading this video on YouTube, so you can check in case if anyone has joined late. And yeah, thank you once again. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. So yeah, so we'll end the session.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks.